We are fast approaching the time we normally hear news about a new update, and at the time of recording this video, we've had no official announcements, but we have had a lot of leaks over the last year and a half. So in this video, we will be going through some of the biggest leaks pointing to future content. Before we do get into the video though, I want to let you know about a project that I've been working on. It's no secret that I've created a lot of gaming channels, and because I've created so many, I know how to get them partnered in about 1 to 2 months without needing to promote them on other social media accounts. And I always get asked, how do I do it? That's why I've created an in-depth class on Skillshare. It goes through the basics of creating a new YouTube channel, but it quickly scales up into doing keyword research, planning videos, recording, editing, creating thumbnails, and eventually getting monetized, where you can actually start running your YouTube channel like a business by outsourcing the work. If you're interested in having your own gaming channel, then there is a link in the description down below, as well as you can find it as the pinned comment, and that will give you a free month of Skillshare where you can use that time to watch through my class, and at the end of it, you will understand everything that you need to know. So link to everything can be found in the description down below. Getting back into the video, I always say with these types of videos that just because there's a leak doesn't necessarily mean it's ever coming. I would guess probably less than 5% of all the leaks we've ever heard of end up being content we actually see. The rest we never get, or is content we do get, but we expected it to be something completely different. A good example of this was the ghost animals which were leaked before Halloween of 2020. We all believed that we would be able to transform into ghost animals such as a boar, buck, possum, and a rabbit, and we would be able to travel the world, only to realize that the ghost animals were actually used for a camp event during Halloween, and the actual animal transformations were normal animals in a limited area. You weren't able to do anything, and it was completely boring. To make matters worse, if you do try to go through these animal transformations now, they're completely broken. You're able to collect Harritum Officinalis, go over to the location, interact with it, transform into an animal for about a second before the game will black screen and take you back to being your character. The bug that's been in the game for, well, probably a year and a half now. So it is rare with any type of leak for it to turn out exactly what was originally leaked. But it's still a fun topic to talk about. So the first leak, and probably the one that players are wanting the most out of everything within this video, is of course the Rancher role. This has been requested ever since roles were first introduced to the game, and even before those roles were first introduced, players were still asking for gameplay features which would connect to a rancher. They just didn't know that it could potentially be a role at the time. And the desire for this to be part of the game all came from Red Dead Redemption 2 story and also Red Dead Redemption 1. There's a lot of crossover between you being an outlaw and also you taking care of your own ranch. Whether that be you helping Bonnie McFarlane in Red Dead Redemption 1, or maybe within Red Dead Redemption 2, such as missions, the sheep and the goats, where you do herd animals after stealing them, or taking a look at John's life in the epilogue. There was a lot of activities within the story which required you to take care of animals, to take care of a place which you can call your own. And there is a lot of players that want this within online. And all of this has been brought up again because recently, just a few months ago, data miners have started to find references within the code which point to some of these activities. In particular, one pointing to rustling owner dead as one of the lines, plus also this ranch has been abandoned by its owners, come back later. The definition of rustling is to round up or steal cattle, horses, sheep, and even goats, very similar to what you do within story. And I know right off the bat that this isn't enough for there to be a huge leak within the game. It's just more of something that people are really wanting. And it does link back to some of the previous leaks that we've had years ago, which did point to there potentially being a rancher role added to the game. One that comes to mind, and also one that is mentioned within the Game Rant article, is that last year in 2021, there was also leaks based around small icons which looked like a rustler wearing a cowboy hat and bandana in a house, which was supposed to point to there being a rancher role. The next big leak is looking at ability cards. There has been loads of ability cards that have been leaked ever since the beginning of Red Dead Online. There has even been occasions where there's been a lot of references within them with certain updates, but they were never released. We're really not too sure what Rockstar are doing or why they're holding these ability cards back, but they seem to keep on adding to them. And it's not just a case of there's a few references within code, they're also supplying artwork with these ability cards that has been posted on the social clubs. There just has never been those ability cards within the game. Now let's not kid ourselves. If we're waiting a full year for an update and the update that comes out is just around ability cards, yes, it's definitely not enough. But ability cards as part of a content drop will really change up the game. It could really change up the meta, change how you're playing, and also they're kind of expensive to buy into. The initial $50 is, yeah, it's quite cheap, anyone could afford it. But as you upgrade and build XP, eventually it all starts to add up, especially if you're looking to buy and upgrade every single one of them. Now the good thing with these ability cards that have been leaked, there isn't just a couple of them. I believe there's 20 to 30 of them that have been accounted for within these leaks so far. So yes, it won't be game-changing content that will bring in loads of players, but it is something that could be a little extra on top, especially if they have already been created, implemented into the game, but are just locked content as of now. When they are released, as long as it is done in a similar way to the previous ability cards, it's going to be expensive to buy into them and upgrade them. And for those that have built up a decent amount of money, this should be something that you could buy into and actually bring that down a bit. There is a massive currency issue within the game where a lot of players can build up huge amounts of money with there being nothing to buy. This still doesn't change that, but it does give something a bit more expensive within the game. And the final major leak for this video is an expansion into Mexico. This has been on the top of everyone's list ever since, well, Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 1 did cross over into Mexico, and when building the foundation of Red Dead Redemption 2, of course, a bit of Mexico is included, but only partly. If you glitch your way across, you will be able to explore and you will be able to find some pretty interesting things, but it is limited. There was no real need for Rockstar to add anything in particular and put any detail into it because it was unlikely that you would ever travel to these locations. That's why for a lot of it, textures aren't as good as what they could be, and with collisions, well, there isn't that many. You can just walk through some of the walls that are there. But within 2022, people are starting to speculate that all of this is changing. There's been quite a few different posts on Reddit, a few different articles here and there, and there's also been YouTubers covering this, that it seems like Rockstar are starting to expand Mexico by actually adding in details within the textures and also applying collisions, plus also making it look a bit greener. Players are swearing that the foliage is getting updated, that there's a lot more plants available, and there would be no other reason for Rockstar to do this unless they're planning something new. Now personally, my personal opinion, I don't believe it's gonna happen. Years ago, Rockstar themselves said that they were never going to look at expanding Red Dead Redemption 2 with single player DLC, and I think it's even more unlikely with this being Red Dead Online content, as the world we currently have is empty. There's not enough content. That's the issue that we're going through, and probably the reason why you're clicking on this video for leaks, because you're looking forward to there being more content within the game. But expanding it open to Mexico doesn't really do that. It makes the play area a hell of a lot bigger with there being no real content that can go there. So I don't think that this is happening, and going through this as a leak, it was pretty much just a courtesy because there was a lot of people that were talking about it, so I thought I would include it as part of this video. But these are the three main talking points that we've seen in recent times for future content. There is still some stuff within the game, whether it be leaks and speculation, which could still happen. This is stuff that was revealed about a year, maybe 2 years ago, but players are still talking about it. It's still on the table for it to potentially happen. The first one being a trader enhancement. People still link back to those grayed out liveries button, which was added alongside the prestigious bounty hunter, but with the trader enhancement, of course, nothing really came of it. Some players expected this to be part of the Blood Money update, or what was originally the Blood Money update, but of course that didn't happen. With this, I do believe that a trader enhancement is on the table, but I don't think it's going to release anytime soon. I'll say the exact same thing that I said all the way back then. It's easy to add a button and disable it, and the reason that they would do it was because there was going to be a lot of free earned media from the content creators, and we can very comfortably say that that's exactly what's happened. Alongside the trader enhancement, we also got a taxidermist, which could also go into a trader enhancement, but it could also be its own separate thing, or even go into the naturalist for that matter. Taxidermy was leaked very heavily alongside the naturalist update, with there being various pamphlets also part of the game files, and also we can't forget that in the naturalist cinematic, Gus McMillan did mention the taxidermist Mrs. Hobbs, who lives just outside of Strawberry in the taxidermy house. With this, there's one of two things that could be happening. Firstly, the taxidermist was supposed to be part of the naturalist as an extra thing on side of Gus. Bear in mind that the naturalist is a bit one-sided, as most of the action happens with Harriet, and Gus is just that other person that you can go to if you want to buy weapons or buy garments. I got no proof that they intended Gus to play a bigger part, I just believe that. So it's whether or not the content and everything else that does reference the taxidermist is stuff that was left over after being cut and never intended to use again, or whether or not they just ran out of time and they're looking to incorporate the taxidermy as part of something within the future. With this, we really don't know, but of course, people are still talking about it, and as we are talking about a leaked video for future content, this one is still available. Anyway guys, here are the leaks that's happened recently, as well as leaks over the last 2 years, which can point to future content. Let me know in the comment section down below, out of everything that we talked about within this video, is there something that you would like to see the most, or would you like to see something completely different? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.